Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. In our top story, Governor Kenneth Mapp reached out to U.S. Congress, and according to released statements, the local government collaborated with FEMA and other federal agencies to complete a detailed sector-by-sector assessment of damages to the territory and arrived at a figure that would be needed to help rebuild the territory. News 2 Stephanie Brown reports.
In a letter transmitted to the United States House of Representatives key players, Mitch McConnell Jr., Charles Schumer, Paul D. Ryan, Nancy Pelosi, and the delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, Governor Mapp provided a $5.5 billion estimate of what it would take to restore and rebuild the Virgin Islands from the devastation both Hurricane Irma and Maria caused to the territory's schools, government buildings, hospitals, and telecommunication systems. In the letter, Governor Mapp outlines that the economic loss to the territory's primary revenue source, tourism, was calculated at more than $2 billion. According to an assessment collaborated by federal agencies, detailed sector by sector and island by island, $680 million is needed to go towards energy. More than $7 million is needed to go toward education, and an item entitled Public Resilience Measure was itemized at $300 million.
So the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, what's happening there now is a challenge to the conscience of America. This is 50 states and our territories, 2 of them being Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. We really have to do more and better for them. Congress must move swiftly for the debt relief supplemental. But for both territories, we must make a long-term commitment to not only relief, recovery, but ongoing long-term economic recovery.
The governor ended the letter stating, "All of us are working night and day to help restore critical services across the U.S. Virgin Islands, and with your support, we will rebuild a more resilient territory." For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
And we welcome them to the Virgin Islands, the Danish Emergency Management Agency, or DEMA. They're in the territory. They joined the U.S. federal and territorial mission, providing some valuable support to the U.S. Virgin Islands recovery efforts from Hurricanes Irma and Maria. A dozen members of DEMA's technical early recovery team, they began some emergency repairs of a nursing home in St. Thomas and an educational facility on St. Croix. DEMA is helping to restore 2 wings of the Seaview Nursing Home on St. Thomas, as well as the cafeteria. Lumber, plastic sheeting, roofing supplies, and other building materials were purchased locally. DEMA technicians also helped start the facility's generator to get electricity and water service back on. At the St. Croix Educational Complex, DEMA personnel tidied up, removing damaged ceiling tiles and major hazards and obstacles in the classrooms, vocational workshops, and the administrative building. They also repaired parts of the roof. Local cleaning and sanitation crews will be hired for more detailed cleaning to make more classrooms ready for the students. Governor Mapp and Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter, they're pleased to welcome along more than 260 linemen from 3 electric companies across the U.S. that arrived in the Virgin Islands. The crews will be working on all 3 islands to augment the electrical restoration efforts. And WAPA reports that large shipment of equipment are also arriving. The linemen are deployed across the territory. Meanwhile, here's a Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority restoration update from John Grillo. John?
Restoration and reconstruction crews made steady progress in both island districts on Thursday. On St. Croix, line crews continued to restore circuits toward the Hannes Rest intersection and to 5 corners. Replacement poles were planted in the Golden Rock area, while debris removal crews cleared down equipment in Sunny Isle, Smithfield, and Enfield Green. On St. John, line crews continued the reconstruction of electrical circuits from Mongoose Junction toward Cruz Bay and from Cruz Bay east to the Myra Keating Smith Community Health Center. Once electrical service has been restored to the WAPA East End substation near the Armory in Nazareth, portions of Cruz Bay can then be energized. On St. Thomas, some crews worked in the Lindbergh Bay area planting poles towards the Gladys Abraham Elementary School. Other crews reconstructed primary circuits on portions of Feeder 6A along Harwood Highway, Feeder 7A to Patriot Manor, and Feeder 10A towards the most eastern entrance to Frenchtown. Following Thursday's work, about 90 to 95% of the Pauline Pearson's Garden housing community has been energized, while sections of Sugar Estate were restored, along with 2 additional buildings in the Oswald Harris Court housing community. In addition, daily progress is being made on the construction of the transmission feeder to energize the Wapa East End substation. This substation will provide service to the submarine cable that provides electricity to St. John. WAPA is advising residents that it is necessary to shut off standby generators when line crews are in your neighborhood restoring electrical service. A standby generator has the potential to backfeed electricity to the grid, which poses a severe safety risk to restoration crews. WAPA is reminding the public that copper theft, even on damaged equipment, is against the law. We are experiencing an increase of instances of copper theft from transformers, poles, equipment, and hardware that were toppled during the 2 hurricanes. Additionally, copper thieves are toppling transformers, which is an environmental hazard. Residents are asked to refrain from cutting damaged or toppled poles. Poles that were damaged must remain in place to allow WAPA to properly document the damage when replacement poles are planted. Once poles have been cut or removed by residents, WAPA is unable to seek reimbursement for that damaged pole.
Thanks for that update, John. Now here's another update. Previously, NEWS2 had spoken to some residents on St. Croix who received damage to their apartments from Hurricane Maria in the Lorraine Village community. As a result of damage to roofs, many residents' homes now have black mold growing on their walls. The community's Property Management Administration office on the mainland had given residents an ultimatum, but many are pleased with the response to that situation. Here's more.
On the 19th of the Hurricane Maria, my apartment get damaged, which is not me alone, but I'm talking on behalf of mine. Get damaged, badly damaged, the roof is off. Water have been coming, rain have been coming off and on. The apartment get damaged and they have mold. And at one time I came to the manager and I speak with her. While in the apartment, one of the ceiling dropped from the kitchen, the second one from the living room. I wasn't looking about, thinking about that one would drop. So while they wake up the child now to go and put on the shoes of the water coming on the 25th, the ceiling came down and hit the child in the head. I came to the manager, speaking to her. She said, well, she feel my pain, but there's nothing she can do at this time. Either I stay with a friend, I'll go to the shelter. My child have asthma. And at the time when the ceiling fell, they have 8 big roll of fiberglass installation just sitting in the apartment. There's nothing she can do. They have empty apartment. I wouldn't need to. I was asking just to sleep in the night and, came out. She said, there's nothing I can do. Now they offer us to go to mutual home. I am not going to mutual home. If I did want mutual home to be my resident for 7 years and 5 months, it would have been. I choose here. Now they're trying to take us there. I'm not going there. But it's not a safe place, because every night with this gunshot, my child has been like she traumatized with a bullet, and I am sorry.
Be sure to count on NEWS2. We will keep you updated. Meanwhile, the Department of Health today, they provided some limited walk-in and clinical services at the Charles Howard Complex via the Mobile Medical Unit. And this is due to a mandatory meeting, all-staff meeting in the conference room of the Cardiac Center. Services and distribution, they say, will resume next week. All WIC clients can redeem their September and October checks at the respective clinics. Clients of the VI Partners for Healthy Communities also began providing services for their clients. The department is also reminding residents, warning against the negative effects of carbon monoxide poisoning. Residents are strongly warned against the practice of using generators indoors or in enclosed or partially enclosed porches and garages, and it applies to us now, especially with the use of generators. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless toxic gas which interferes with the oxygen carrying capacity of blood. Carbon monoxide is non-irritating and can overcome persons without warning. Many people die from the poisoning, usually while using gasoline-powered tools and generators in buildings or semi-enclosed spaces without adequate ventilation. Now, severe carbon monoxide poisoning causes neurological damage, illness, coma, and sometimes death. Symptoms of carbon monoxide exposure includes headaches, dizziness and drowsiness, nausea, vomiting, tightness across the chest, and some sources of exposure include portable generators in buildings, concrete cutting saws, compressors, paper trowels, floor buffers, space heaters, welding, gasoline-powered pumps. Now, preventing carbon monoxide exposure, you can open up windows and doors in an enclosed space. That can prevent the buildup. Make sure the generator has 3 to 4 feet of clear space on all sides and above it to ensure adequate ventilation. Do not use a generator outdoors if it's placed near doors, windows, or vents, which could allow the carbon monoxide to enter and build up in occupied spaces. When using space heaters and stoves, ensure that they are in good working order to reduce carbon monoxide buildup, and never use in enclosed spaces or indoors. Consider using tools powered by electricity or compressed air if available. Now, if you experience symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, be sure to get some fresh air right away and seek medical attention. Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter, who is also the territory's Commissioner of Insurance, is reminding the public adjusters and residential property owners of the rules and regulations governing the actions of public adjusters in the territory. He said these regulations are needed for the protection of all residential policyholders who contract with a public adjuster for the purpose of representing their financial interests in an insurance policy by preparing, completing, or filing their insurance claim form and negotiating the settlement of a claim for loss or damage covered by a homeowner's insurance policy. No public adjuster may charge a fee or receive any compensation from you, the residential property owner, which exceeds 5% of the residential insurance settlement. Now, customers with questions regarding the insurance policy or about an adjuster should contact the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation at 340-774-7166 for St. Thomas, St. John, and Water Island, or 340-773-6459 on St. Croix. Customers may also go into the Division's office on St. Thomas at Niski Center, 2nd floor, or St. Croix at 1131 King Street, 3rd floor. Turn our attention over to Puerto Rico. Acting U.S. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy was in Puerto Rico Thursday to get a look at recovery efforts in the hurricane-devastated island. McCarthy met with officers and soldiers on the ground and had a chance to see what the military is doing to help those in need. The soldiers are performing airdrops of supplies to remote areas of the island, as well as setting up a mobile hospital. McCarthy says troops plan to be in Puerto Rico for the long haul. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers, we can see the Dow up 30, NASDAQ 14, S&P 500 up 2. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead, including news from the Department of Education and cleanup efforts underway, as well as rules and regulations when it comes to debris removal. That and more coming up next. Buses out and about. Welcome back. Here's an education update. The Raphael O. Wheatley Skills Center, they hosted their orientation session today for new and returning students at the school. They say evening classes will be postponed until further notice. However, anyone who registered for the evening program and want to change for the day program, the staff will be available to accommodate them accordingly. The St. Thomas St. John District Adult Education Literacy Center, located on Garden Street, they began registration as of Tuesday, October 10th. Registration is free. They say courses offered are adult, basic, literacy, numeracy, pre, GED, prepped, and ESL. A valid photo ID is required to sign up. Now, principals and heads of non-public schools in the St. Croix district receiving federal grants from the VI Department of Education were asked to attend a meeting with district officials earlier today to discuss damages and to conduct a needs assessment following Hurricane Maria and Irma. And this included the St. Mary's Catholic School, Reading Rainbow, Church of God, Christian Academy, Free Will Baptist School, St. Joseph's Catholic High School, Good Hope Country Day, St. Patrick's Catholic School, Seventh-day Adventist School, AZ Academy, School of the Good Shepherd, Zion Christian Academy, ICRA, and the St. Croix Montessori School. The U.S. Small Business Administration, they announced that over $1 million in low-interest disaster loans have been approved for business and residents of the Virgin Islands affected by Hurricane Irma. SBA customer service reps are at FEMA's Disaster Recovery Center to issue loan applications, answer questions, and help individuals complete their applications. SBA disaster loans are available to businesses of all sizes, most private nonprofit organizations, homeowners, and renters to cover uninsured losses from the disaster. Now, to be considered for all forms of disaster assistance, applicants should register online at www.disasterassistance.gov, or you can download the FEMA mobile app. Here's more.
We've got 12 disaster survivor assistance specialists out here right now trying to help folks register for FEMA assistance who have not yet registered, or to provide status updates and inquiries for people who have already registered and just want to check on the status of their file. So Home Depot has actually been a great partner in helping and letting us set up here. As you see, we've got a couple tents set up where people can sit while they're waiting to get registered, and we also got a couple tables set up here where people can sit down. Today from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. also.
The Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority, they're informing residents on St. Croix that the Mambas site was reopened today, and this is what the scene looked like. Today, Friday, October 13th, the Waste Management Authority is asking residents to ensure that the household waste are placed directly into the bins at the site and not in the surrounding areas. With debris removal being a key part of recovery process, residents in the territory are reminded to move debris to the edge of their property and to avoid blocking roadways with any debris. All debris should be sorted into 4 categories. The first category includes household appliances such as washers, microwaves, stoves, and refrigerators. They are to be grouped together. The second category includes electronics devices such as TVs, radios, music players, and computers. The third category consists of construction materials like galvanized metal, roofing material, and sheetrock. And the fourth category is vegetation, such as tree limbs, branches, and other uprooted plants. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Well, we are getting a little bit of a break in the action tonight, which is good news. We could use a break. We need some dry weather, and we don't expect to see much out there tonight. There is a cluster of disorganized showers and thunderstorms off to our east, and this is a system that we're going to keep an eye on. It is very disorganized, not very cohesive there, or coherent when we look at the circulation, but it will basically hover in our direction and hover overhead, bringing some extra showers here later on this weekend. By the way, Ophelia, the hurricane, is way, way, way off to the east, and it's going to impact the Azores with some tropical storm force winds in some areas, and possibly Ireland, believe it or not, early next week with some wind and rain as well. That is far from us and is moving in the opposite direction, so here's a water vapor loop showing dry air in place for now. Enjoy it. A couple of extra showers have popped up over parts of Puerto Rico to the southwest. Here's the estimate of rain based on satellite. You can see some of those thunderstorms popping in southwestern parts of Puerto Rico in the final hours of this Friday, and the big cluster of showers is approaching from the east. Still a little bit of breathing room, though, so we'll enjoy some quiet weather tonight. Partly cloudy, 78 degrees for us, and the showers will begin to sneak back in tomorrow. A few of them out there for St. John, 87 degrees. Over to St. Thomas, 87, a few showers here and there. And as the recovery efforts continue in places like St. Croix, a shower or two. 88 degrees. At least the weather's not too disruptive this time around. For the boaters, we have 2 to 4 footers rolling on out there on the north side. The Atlantic side, that's an east-northeast breeze. It's fairly active, 10 to 15 knots. And a similar wind for the south side, but waves will be just a little bit smaller at 1 to 3 feet. So Sandy, we're dealing with some scattered showers that are returning. Spotty showers initially Saturday. Sunday they become a little more likely. Some locally heavy rain, downpours are possible once again. But at this point, no flood alerts or watches are out, and that's some good news. We don't expect to see too much out of that system. Scattered showers linger, even a thunderstorm into Tuesday. Sandy, back to you.
Time for our News 2 weather picture. Thank you for that update there. Destiny King, 7th grader of Niski Moravian School, shares this picture that indicates some sunshine, some blue skies, some raindrops, as well as a rainbow, what we like to see heading into the weekend. Thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to be featured right here on News 2 to the address on the screen. Stick around. We have more straight ahead. We'll be right back.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Going right to Major League Baseball, the American and National League Championship Series are set after the Cubs punched their ticket with the win over the Washington Nationals in Game 5 of the NLDS. Top of the 5th, Cubs are already up 5-4 when Javier Baez strikes out swinging. But the bad throw to first allows Addison Russell to score. The Cubs are up 6-4. Moving on to the bottom of the 8th, the Nats are down 9-8, and the snap throw to first called safe, but upon further review, the runner Lobaton is out. Bottom 9, Bryce Harper goes down swinging, and the Cubs move on to face the LA Dodgers in the NLCS. Game 1 is on Saturday in LA at 8 p.m. I like the Dodgers to win this series in 6 games. The ALCS is a matchup of power versus power. The New York Yankees versus the Houston Astros. Game 1 is tonight in Houston at 8 p.m. I think in this series, the team with the better bullpen wins. Therefore, Yanks in 7. On to the NFL. Thursday Night Football, the surprising Philadelphia Eagles at the Carolina Panthers. Second quarter action, Cam Newton with a 16-yard touchdown run. The Panthers are up 10-3. However, after that, it's all Eagles. Carson Wentz with a 1-yard TD toss to Zach Ertz. Game tied at 10. Third quarter, Wentz to Ertz again for 17 yards and another TD. The Eagles are up 18-10. On to the fourth quarter, Wentz to the speedy Nelson Aguilar for the 24-yard TD catch and run. The Eagles are up 28-16. Under 4 minutes left, Panthers trying to make a comeback, and Cam hits a wide open Eagles cornerback for Cam's third INT of the game. Eagles go on to win 28-23 and are on top in the NFC East with a 5-1 record. Finally, Sunday NFL action that no one saw coming. The New York Jets and the New England Patriots meet at MetLife Stadium. The winner will have sole possession of first place in the AFC East. Yeah, you heard me. Some preseason predictions had the Jets going 0-16 and the Pats going 16-0. However, both are 3-2. The Jets are riding a 3-game winning streak. The latest victory came courtesy of the Cleveland Browns, an ugly 17-14 win. The Pats took down the Bucs last Thursday in ugly fashion as well, 19-14. On paper, this game should be a blowout. The Pats are favored by 9.5 points, but I have been shooting off my mouth all week about how the Jets were going to give Brady and company an good old-fashioned New York, New Jersey beatdown. The Jets, they're playing with house money, and I say Gang Green is going to cash that check that my mouth has been writing all week. That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that update, Gary. That is all for this edition of News 2. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest in news, weather, and sports. On behalf of all of us, have a wonderful weekend, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sandra Demansing. See you next time.